Okay, so I hope the audio is fine because I'm gonna use this mic so I don't have to be towards the other mic all the time. But I am unboxing, I guess I forgot to say ciao YouTube, Ambardos, as per usual. Still me, former pro player, engineer, nerd, aimer. And today we're unboxing something that I'm really excited about because it's the ATK Gear X Leviatan ATK F1 Extreme V2. Some of you know that right now my two main mics are the GPX2C, and I actually bought with my own money, my own hard-earned money, two ATK F1 Extreme. Why? Because I wanted to keep one with the stock feet, this one, and on one I have artisan dots, okay? So sadly, they wouldn't send me two like V2s, and I bought those. This one, I actually managed to reach out and be like, hey guys, please, I'm poor, can you send me one? And they did send me one. So I'm still very excited, but now I'm torn on whether I will use this with the stock feet or with artisan dots, we'll see. Right now, I've actually been maining the GPX2C over the F1 Extreme V1. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it is due to the whole package, sensor, microcontroller, the connection to the dongle. It feels a little better on the GPX2C, and I'm trying to figure out why. That's part of my quest in building some latency testing stuff, because I want to figure it out. But one of the main points, one of the main upgrades of this 2.0 is that they're using a more modern MCU, a microcontroller from Nordic, the most recent one. I'm pretty sure they must be using that in the dongle too, because Nordic has a proprietary RF 2.4 protocol, and I'm very excited about that. I'm kind of curious to see, they must have rewritten the firmware because they changed my controller. I don't know if they wrote it, but I'm curious because I had observed some weirdness in the firmware. When you click, sometimes I would see double the expected deltas. So I'm curious to see if it will be fixed in this one or not. So let's see what's in the box. I remember that I still have one of the boxes there and the other one over there. So I remember what the V1 looked like very well. Let's see what the V2 looks like. Do I need to open on both sides? Probably not. Okay, so far I can already tell that there's at least one difference. Because it's blue. That one was red. Cool. Blazing Sky wireless mouse F1 Extreme 2.0. There's a cool dragon. I'll be honest, I have no idea what brand Leviatan is, but I really like this color, so I actually waited longer to get this color instead. And the box looks pretty sick. So, let's open it up. Anything interesting on the outside? ATK F1 Leviatan Joint Edition Ultra Lightweight Wireless Mouse. ATK F1 Leviatan 2.0. Weight 38 grams plus minus 2G. Interesting. I remember I weighed my first one at 37. So they are claiming, I remember this, a slightly heavier weight. I wonder why. What part caused the heavier weight in this upgrade? Because I mean, I think they only changed the microcontroller unit. And I mean, the microcontroller unit itself, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the actual microcontroller part of a microcontroller board. Let me take a random, like, this for example is an ESP32. Like the actual microcontroller is only this little, like, I need to cover my eyes, this little like square. Or let's take a real mouse. This is some internals from some mouse that I've been getting. The microcontroller on this one is actually only this little square. This is probably a Nordic, if I had to guess, based on what I'm seeing. I know that I've seen a Realtek in a different one, which was interesting. But the microcontroller is basically only that little, like, of course, this is the sensor. And then you can see there's like a black square right here. That's the microcontroller. They're very tiny things, you know. You don't really usually, it's not, yeah, this is an Ajas, some other Chinese mouse. This one was interesting because they use a Realtek microcontroller. I don't know if you care, but since the big change with the F1 V2 is that You can see because I think Realtek has one of the coolest logos, honestly, because it's a crab. So these other Chinese mouses are Realtek microcontroller, because Realtek, like Nordic, have their own like onboard radio 800 and whatever, like the 2.4 gigahertz protocol, which allows you to easily build like a dongle and a mouse with the same microcontroller. And that way you don't have to put in the effort to have an external RF module like what I had been doing with this little monstrosity. This little piece here is from Nordic. It's an RF24, and it's basically needed to add like wireless to anything. But that's why these mice are using MCUs that already support the wireless portion. So I doubt that the extra weight is from changing the microcontroller unit. But maybe they have to change the PCB according to the pinout from this other Nordic MCU, and maybe that caused the increase, because I don't see what else it could have been. Okay. The box is basic, like it always was. I like it. I remember last time I struggled to open this too, because it was not actually perfectly. Oh no, okay, never mind. It opens like this, I forgot. Much tinier dongle, and that must be because they're using the new Nordic. I haven't opened one of these dongles up from the old F1, but you can see the difference, right? Massive difference in size. Now I'm kind of curious to open the old one up and see what microcontroller was in that one versus the new one, which is very tiny and kind of see-through. I can see the PCB, but it's not transparent, so I can really see it without opening it up. And these are glued together, so it's kind of, it risks being destructive if I open them. This one also had this little RGB like strip. I wonder if there's an LED on this one too, maybe so in the front, but they definitely went smaller. It's cool that it's blue, like the mouse. I imagine it's color-coded based on the version that you get. Still feels so light. Like even compared to the GPX2C, which is very light, these are on a different level. Okay, from the outside it looks exactly the same. Let me see if I can notice any difference at all. Okay, I mean, the sticker placement here is slightly different. The sensor skate, no, it's probably the same size. I cannot notice any difference. The mounting of the lens seems to be exactly the same. Positioning of the clicks and everything. I don't remember if they also changed the switch on the clicks. Doesn't feel that different. It feels lighter, but it might be because I haven't put the skates on yet. Let me see what the real weight is. Let's see, more truth. 40 grams without the mouse feet. They do say plus minus 2, maybe I was just unlucky. This one, the V1 with mouse feet on, 38 with mouse feet on. So even though I said it felt lighter, maybe it's just the difference in feeling in the coding, it's slightly different, but it might just be because it's not used. Damn. I mean, that doesn't sound like a big difference, but it's reading 39 now, so it's probably about 39.5 versus this one, still reading 38 with mouse feet on. I mean, if it gets to +3 with mouse feet on, it doesn't sound like much, but it's still a 10% increase, you know? These are really light. I mean, it's not a 10% increase. 37 would be 3.7, so we need to get almost 4 grams difference to be a 10% increase, but still, you know, meaningful. Probably won't be able to actually tell in the real world anyway. No. Okay, paper. Warranty. I don't need this. Now I'm torn on whether I should actually put the stock feet on or just go with dots first, because the dots are actually reusable if you treat them well. These are more destructive to remove. So maybe I should start by trying it out, maybe with just a sensor skate. I guess I don't care if I destroy them, because they give you 2 sets of feet and also grips. But these have a really nice coating. Like, I don't see why I would need feet, to be honest. Sorry, grips on something like this. So let's put the feet on and see if I can feel any difference versus the V1. I doubt, honestly, that I can feel a difference even in usage if I don't actually measure something, because it's not like they completely messed up the implementation in the V1. So I'm not sure if there's, because I mean, really, the main selling point is the upgrade to the microcontroller unit. That's better, right? So I guess maybe it also increases stability of the radio communication. You never know. You know, the more I'm getting into making my own mouse, the more I realize there's a lot of nuances that are kind of like ignored. You have to consider that, like, you have 2 microcontrollers talking to each other over RF. When you connect your dongle to your computer, it's really the dongle that is acting as the mouse. Like, it's a dongle that claims to be, I always struggle with this one. It's the dongle that claims to be an HID, which is a human interface device. It's a dongle that acts as a mouse from the point of view of your computer. So what the dongle does is it will wait for its RF. Man, is it me? I think I had the problem with the first one too. I might be destroying them just by applying them. But you need to be super precise or it will not fully be in the hole. That sounds sus. I think I got it. I hope so. I will probably use dots anyway, but who knows. So as I was saying, there's a lot of moving parts. That's why I kind of don't like the status quo of being like every sensor is the same. My mouse sensors have been flawless since the fucking, I don't know, people have been moving the goalposts. Many years ago, it was like the 3311 Pixar is flawless, and like everything after is flawless. Even before then, people were like the Avago, DNS, whatever, is flawless, and like we can't get any better. First of all, it's not all about the sensor. People always talk about the sensor, and again, there's so many moving parts because you've got the microcontroller on the mouse, talks to the sensor via SPI, which is a type of interface for communication. It's a serial peripheral interface, and it's like wires that it talks to the sensor through, and then you have many different ways in which the sensors can be communicated to, depending on what Pixar decides. And then the microcontroller, after it talks to the sensor, first of all, it can also talk in different ways depending on whether it wants to use a physical pin to see when there's new motion or whether it wants to use a register and poll. It's already a difference, because then the timing of these SPI reads and whether the mouse has data to give you or not changes. So it's not like, oh, there's a 3395 or a 3950, so it's all the same. And also, at that point, the microcontroller needs to send the data over through whatever protocol it's using for radio frequency to the dongle. Then the dongle needs to read the data and send it to the computer. So there's like a lot of moving parts. And to imagine that every company, just because they're using one part of like a billion parts that's the same, that it would be the same, is really reductive. So just because it has a 3950 doesn't mean that there's no difference. It's still 40 grams, but now confidently 40 grams with the mouse feed on. I saw it be 41 for a second. So realistically, it probably went from 39.5 to maybe 40.4, like maybe about a gram of mouse feed or something like that. And the shape is amazing. The shape of the ATK F1 is great. Honestly, I prefer it to the GPX2C, but the GPX2C still feels like it has something going on, so that it's better. I hope I'm not continuously messing with the sound by hitting it with the cable. I appreciate the smaller dongle. Let's see, plug it in. Oh, there we go. I was on the wrong computer. See ATK hub. Kind of curious to see if they changed anything. I mean, so far it feels exactly like an F1. They called it 8 Dongle H. So they named the dongle differently. Let's see if there's any different settings. Nope, still can go up to 8K, basic mode, Fierce Shark competitive firmware, Fierce Shark competitive firmware max. I don't notice any difference between basic and fierce. And I've been pondering, because you never know exactly what that does, and it does ship with motion sync, which they call mobile synchronization, on by default, which I think is fine. Even though motion sync per se is kind of, that also depends on implementation, right? I don't know when people start using it, but it's not something that the sensor offers. It's something that you have to do at the microcontroller unit level, because that synchronizes, and it's even more complicated over wireless. Honestly, I'd be curious to see how it works, because you're basically waiting to read motion before the next poll, or like contextually to the next USB poll happen, so that you don't, like, between two poles of the USB bus, you don't do multiple reads or less than one read, so that every time there's a poll, if there's actual motion that happened between two poles, it sends it. So this can add up to like 1/Hz delay, but technically it will decrease jitter, which might help with motion clarity on your screen when you move your mouse. But then it's not something that like the sensor offers, it's something the microcontroller unit offers, which I have this like theory. All of these things that have been coming out, a lot of them are like not related to a 3950, but microcontroller. And I've seen them like come out in a bunch of Chinese mice, like kind of in the same period. So now I'm like, are all of these companies buying the firmware from some third company, or are they making the firmware themselves? And I don't know. I guess I could ask them, since they sent me this, because I'd be curious if they write their own firmware in-house, or if there's some other company that writes the firmware. But yeah, ultimately, it's an F1. I like the color, and obviously I need to play with it to tell if I like the actual important change, which is a new Nordic MCU. And I'll keep you posted. Thank you for being here. Ciao.